Hi, I'm Kelly, and this is my van. It's just a 2017 Dodge Caravan. Absolutely nothing special. I call her Plain Jane because nothing special about this car at all. The first thing a lot of people ask me when they see it is they're like, why did you rip everything out of a minivan? Nah, nah, nah. And I'm like, well, I'm in Canada, so I wanted to insulate it. So I ripped everything out. It's insulated with the Havelock wool on the inside. I actually gain about 2 inches of space on the floor by ripping out the sidewalls too. So keep in mind that this is not done, this build. The Dodge Caravans come with a stow and go seating, but because I took the seats out, I wanted to use that space for storage. This will eventually have a handle, but because it's still in progress, it doesn't now. But anyway, there's 2 of these stow and go. I'll just give you an idea of how much crap these things hold. This is all my bedding, and it still goes. So like it holds quite a bit. And the other one just has like my tools and stuff in it. I have actually 2 cats that will be coming with me, so it may hold cat supplies. When you rip out the seats in a Dodge Caravan, or probably most minivans, the floor is really like this. Like it's really lopsided. I needed to have a level floor. Because there will be a permanent bed built on top of this and all that. And it was, yeah, it was too difficult to try to just kind of wing it. So I had James Suchar build the floor for me. And I'm really happy with it because, like I said, I get the access to the stow and go. The floor is level, which makes it so much easier for me, since the build's not done, to sleep and just kind of function, not tripping over myself everywhere, and it gives me storage. Plus it was really easy to insulate because I used the lamb's wool, so it was just like toss it in, you know, the empty spaces and go. So that was nice. So this is kind of just, honestly, it's just kind of a mishmash of things right now. This is actually a shelf that somebody else had in their build, and I kind of stole it from them when they didn't need it anymore. So this holds like my stove, my pantry, my cookware, and then there's 2 more in the back that's for like water, and then the other one holds like my butane and stuff like that I access from the back. This I got the Moby Cools specifically for this trip because I hate like the ice in a cooler thing, but for my needs it doesn't work really well. I think when I go full time I'll definitely be getting like an Alpicool or a Dometic or something. It's the bed, which is, it's actually like a chair that folds out. Wait a minute. Just like this. So basically this just folds down and pulls out. It just happens to fit and works really well. I had an old dresser, so I just kind of threw that in there. Like I said, I will be going full time, but right now I'm kind of experimenting to see like what works best for me because the space is so small. So yeah, basically I just sit here. Like I said, I have all my cookware, my pots and pans and stuff hiding in here. Yeah, so it works pretty well because I just set the stove up here, make sure I don't have anything flammable around. But I have the fan, the Max Air fan for sure. Always have that thing on, especially when I'm cooking. But it works pretty good. You know, I got my little cutting board, and I mean, I don't do a ton of cooking, so it works well for me. And yeah, if I need hot water, I got my little kettle. Right now, I don't really have any permanent lights. I got these lovely lights, which are from Canadian Tire. And then I have the Jackery, of course, has a light on it if I really need it. But I'm actually, at night, my van's so small, I find that these work just fine. I'm super lazy, so I hate like having to cover the windows like every single night. So eventually all my curtains will be on a system like this, where it's on a rod. It's also my daily driver, right? So when I'm driving, these just get tucked up right here and they're out of my way. So I don't have to tie them back or anything like that. I like it up there and my view is clear. For these windows, I just have, these are actually dollar store blankets that I put up with these little clips, office clips. So, and it works pretty well. I will be putting in a diesel heater. So I kind of have this with me to kind of figure out where I'm going to put this when the build is done. The diesel heater itself, I'm hoping, is going to go in between the front seats. But I just kind of keep this around so I don't forget that, oh yeah, I need to leave room, you know. And I have a lugaloo that I don't have a space for right now, so it kind of lives in the passenger seat. But I will be building a cabinet for it back here eventually. I will, like I said, also be having 2 cats. So this is the back stow and go for these, which would normally hold the back seats. Right now it's just temporarily covered so that it can support this. This is actually my cat litter pan. So eventually there will be like a permanent counter across here with access for the cats to get into the litter pan from the front, and that's kind of where that will live. Because the build was temporary, before I had the floor, I wasn't really able to put a bed in because the floor was so uneven. So the hammock was kind of the answer to that problem. And then I just found that it's nice too to set it up and just have the doors open and, you know, sit in it and that kind of thing too. But that's originally why it was my bed. So and then you got your hammock.
Can you tell me, why do you live in a van?
A couple of reasons, but one of the biggest is that I want to downsize. I don't like having so much stuff, which I find is kind of funny because I feel like my van is already so full of stuff and I'm not even done. So that was kind of the big motivation. Also save money, obviously. I got to realizing that you know, I worked a lot, 12 hours a day sometimes, and I would come home and basically I'm just paying rent to store, you know, knickknacks and stuff. So like it just really wasn't worth it. So that was one of the reasons. The other reason is that I just kind of like the idea of being able to go anywhere at any time and having everything that I need with me. So that, yeah, those were kind of my reasons. Yeah.
And what made you choose a minivan?
I wanted something that wasn't too big. And then I probably made a huge mistake in listening to people telling me, you can't live in a van you can't stand up in, and you can't live in a van that small. And then I went through the whole gamut of looking at, like, you know, Ford Transits and ProMasters, and I looked at all these different things, and I just kept coming back to the smaller vehicles. So this is what I got.
How has it been for you so far, this experience?
Well, building it has definitely been a little bit of a challenge because there's not a lot of people who rip out the insides. And when I post pictures on forums, that's actually the first criticism I get is, why did you rip out the inside? And I just threw a bed in mine and went and all this. But I knew, doing my research before I got the van, that the 3 big things I needed was going to be insulation, ventilation, and heat. So actually, right away, that was the first thing I did. I got the diesel heater, which still has to be installed. I got the fan put in first thing, and then I ripped everything out to insulate it properly. But it definitely has been a bit of a challenge ripping everything out, because you don't realize until you take everything out how even more uneven everything is, and that there's wires all kinds of places that you didn't think there were wires. I didn't want to feel like I was living around like cup holders, and you know what I mean? If I'm living in the van, I want it to feel homey. So far it's good. You know, it's it takes a little bit of getting used to, for sure. You know, doing things like, oh, the big things, everyone's like, oh, where do you go to the bathroom, and how do you do this, and how do you do that, and oh yeah, it's not a big deal. Well, it's not a big deal, but the first time that you use a pee cup or you use your porta potty or whatever, you know, like, it's kind of intimidating, you know, but you want to be like, oh, it's fine, it's no big deal. But like the first time you use it, you're kind of freaking out, like, what am I doing? I'm in a van peeing in a cup, like, okay. but overall, it's really not too bad. I would, you know, all the things that I was nervous about, cooking and you know, temperature control and that kind of thing, bathing, really, no, it hasn't been an issue at all. So yeah, it's totally doable. I guess it depends on your standards, though. I guess, you know, some people like, no, I have to have a shower to be clean all the time, and sponge baths don't cut it, or whatever, you know. So it kind of depends on the person, I think.
What do you do for bathing?
Give me 1 second, let me pull something
up.
Okay, so washing my hair was kind of a big deal, and I got this nifty thing from Petco, $12, and it fits over any water bottle, standard water bottle, and it's like a shower. So it comes out like a little shower. But I find it's really helpful when I wash my hair. So it's really good for rinsing. So far that's what I've used it for, and it's like the best thing that I've bought so far. Other than that, I usually just heat some water up, and I have a basin, I have a collapsible bucket, soap and a washcloth, and just kind of go from there. It's more work to bathe in the van, but totally doable. So, and baby wipes, of course, for in between. But yeah.
What kind of advice would you have for somebody that's thinking about doing this?
I think you have to be a little realistic. I think you see a lot of you watch a lot of videos that show the Instagram and or like these really fancy builds, and you have to have this and you have to have that, and you don't need to have all the fancy stuff. So I think if you're going to do it, think outside the box, kind of figure out what you need, but also be realistic about it. Like, be realistic about what you can fit, what you can carry, what you need to be comfortable, because there's still going to be some things that you need to be comfortable that other people don't. And don't let anybody tell you, oh, you don't need that in a van. If that is what's going to make you comfortable and is important, then do it. I mean, it's for you, not for someone else, right? Plus, because I'm in a minivan, it's a little bit easier for me to park places too. I'm not as obvious as like a big giant cargo van.
Can you talk to me about the financial benefits, or do you see any financial benefits of this? Once
I'm out of my apartment, my only payment is going to be my car payment and my insurance, and that's it. So all the money that I'm spending on rent right now is just going to go into my pocket, really. So it's kind of a no-brainer in my opinion. Yeah. That's a lot of money to save every month. So.
And what are some challenges that you faced?
I don't really know. I think it's more just kind of getting aggravated that my build's not done yet. So come see me when my build is done. I'll have a better answer for that. But right now, sometimes it can get a little aggravating just because everything is so it's not permanent right now. And I think that once I've got a more permanent build, it'll be a little less anxiety about that. But yeah, I would recommend it. But I think you kind of have to be the kind of person who just goes with the flow. You can't get, things change, things happen. You make plans, or you park and then you have to move, or, you might have car trouble or whatever. You can't be super uptight. You got to kind of roll with it, I guess. And if you're willing to do that and accept that, stuff happens and it all works out in the end, then you're good.
Can you talk to me about what the community of Vanlife means to you?
So I'm only just starting, because I'm pretty new with all this. So I'm only just starting to meet a lot of van life people. I was actually really surprised to find out how many people live full time in that area. And the people that I've met have all been amazing. I guess because we're all kind of have the same mindset, so it's almost like instantaneous, like, oh, you have a van, I live in a van, and there's so much like unspoken, like, oh, you know what you have to do to live in a van, and so it's very comfortable, it's very welcoming so far from what I've seen.
And what got you interested initially into this and thinking about that this would be a possibility for you?
Years ago, when I was in high school, I had a teacher, Mr. Desmond, if he's still around, and he told me a story about how after college, him and a bunch of his friends got in the van and they traveled cross country for a summer. And ever since he told me that story, I've had it in my head that that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to get into a van. I want to travel cross country. I actually planned a whole trip across the U.S., like all mapped out and everything, of places I want to go and, see and that kind of thing. So that was kind of always in the back of my mind. And then I was always like, okay, well, when I hit 40, I'm going to do it. And it didn't happen. And now I'm 48 and I'm done waiting. So I didn't realize that people necessarily lived in their vans until I started doing more research for my road trip. And then I realized, hey, this is really a thing, that I can do. I can be in this full time and live in the van. I mean, I still have a job and everything, but just the fact that it was possible.
How has the pandemic affected your experience in van life?
The biggest thing is for me, when I was planning this, I have a full-time job, and one of the things was like, oh, I won't need solar because I can charge my Jackery when I'm at work. You know, I can shower at the gym. I don't need to worry about that. You know, just little things like that. I can do my laundry at work or whatever. Like when the pandemic hit and all of a sudden I wasn't working anymore, and then I realized how, even though I'm sitting here in the van and wanting to be self-sufficient and minimalist and all this, and I'm still relying so heavily on normal day-to-day, like using a wall phone and doing my laundry and showering and all these things, and I realized that I needed to be more self-sufficient. So now solar is going to be going in here. You know, like I said, figuring out the bathing thing was definitely a huge plus. So now I don't have to worry about if they close the gyms again or something, and now I know I can bathe and be clean. Yeah, so I think that was kind of the biggest thing, was realizing that even though I thought I was going to be like all, you know, independent, then this hit and I realized, wow, I really wasn't going to be, you know. So that kind of changed some of my thinking a little bit.
Hey everybody, it's Forrest the filmmaker. Hope you guys enjoyed that episode of Alternative Dwellings. If you want to see more, playlists are popping up right now where you can watch all of our archived episodes. Or if you want to see new ones, make sure to subscribe, because they premiere at 7:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time every single Monday. Hope to see you guys there.